What's up, everybody? I hope everybody had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. America. Although today's video is going to be a little depressing and, you know, a little black-pilled. But sorry I haven't been pumping out content. I was away at the lake celebrating 4th of July, hanging out with some friends, doing some fishing. But had to make a video on this because now let me tell you why I'm black-pilled. I try to be positive. I try to trust the Trump administration. I try to trust the DOJ now that he's appointed new people. Bongino, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. But I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. I am fully black-pilled now that this came out, and I'm going to pull it up in a second. But the DOJ, FBI have concluded that Epstein had no client list and died by suicide. They're all corrupt pedos. All of them. Almost all of them. How in the hell can this be? And I'm going to play some stuff because they contradict themselves numerous times. Maybe if they weren't, pushing this other shit, I'd believe them. But let's pull up this newest one. So, President Trump's Justice Department and FBI have concluded that they have no evidence that the convicted sex offender and disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed powerful figures, kept a client list, or was murdered, according to a memo detailing the findings obtained by Axios. The administration is releasing a video in both raw and enhanced versions that says indicate no one entered the area of the Manhattan prison where Epstein was held that night that he died. The video supports a medical examiner's findings that Epstein died by suicide. The 2-page memo claims. So, well, okay, because I haven't read this before pulling it up now. So, let's do some digging into this, because this claim right here that there's video evidence suddenly when before it was all the video went out. Now it's just the video in the cell went out, but there's one in the hallway and you can see nobody comes through other than the medical examiners. Why don't I forgot to put my tinfoil hat on for this one. But, hey, don't you think it's potentially possible that the so-called medical examiners that are seen going into the cell, Epstein was alive at the time? Hey, maybe all right, buddy, time for you to hang yourself, strangle him, and then say, oh yeah, we just viewed the body. It's he killed himself. Don't you think that's a possibility? So that's easily potentially debunked because, surprise, surprise, the camera goes off just in the cell now, and they have footage that they were enhancing so you could see it better. Ridiculous. So, why it matters. The findings represent the first time the Trump administration has officially contradicted conspiracy theories about Epstein's activities and his death. Theories that have been pushed by the FBI's top 2 officials before Trump appointed them to the bureau. Hey, agreed. Social media influencers and activists, Kash Patel, now FBI director, and Dan Bongino, now the deputy director, were among those in MAGA world who questioned the official version of how Epstein died. Yes, they definitely did. Patel and Bongino have said since Epstein killed himself, but it has become an article of faith online, especially on the right, that Epstein's crimes also implicated government officials, celebrities, and business leaders, and that someone killed him to conceal them. Yeah, we know this. I mean, look no further than the Prince Andrew allegation. The memo says no one else involved in the Epstein case will be charged. Yeah, there's my black pill right there. Are you fucking kidding me? So we have Ghislaine. Yeah, okay. This is exactly what I was going to bring up. We have Ghislaine Maxwell serving a 20-year sentence for child sex trafficking. To who? To nobody, apparently, because she's the only one that's going to go to prison and Epstein killed himself. This is not, and I don't usually bitch too much, but this is not what we voted for. We voted for transparency and full release of the Epstein documents. And these people were teasing it. I'm going to pull up videos later of especially Pam Bondi totally contradicting all this information. So, who did Ghislaine Maxwell traffic the children to? If she's serving a 20-year sentence and you're going to charge no one else. Black-pilled. They're all in it together. The uniparty's real. The deep state's real. These people are sick, demented pedos. Alex Jones is right about so much, and he was talking about this forever. So, according to the memo, investigators closely examined footage of Epstein's Manhattan prison cell between 10:40 p.m. August 9th, 2019, when Epstein was locked in his cell, and around 6:30 a.m. the next day when he was found unresponsive. The footage, excuse me, which was reviewed by Axios but couldn't be verified independently, showed no one entering the area, the administration said. The FBI enhanced the relevant footage by increasing its contrast, balancing the color, and improving its sharpness for greater clarity and viewability. Yeah, like you couldn't have doctored it. The FBI enhanced relevant footage by... Okay, I already read that. Investigators found no incriminating client list of Epstein's, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals, and no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties, the memo adds. So there's the memo there. I'm not going to sit here and read all that. As MAGA influencers, Patel and Bongino had been among the loudest voices touting the Epstein conspiracy theories. Since joining the government as Trump appointees, they've been more measured in talking about the Epstein investigation and thrown cold water on the notion he was murdered. And then, okay, that's all I'm going to read on this because we're going to go to videos where they're obviously contradicting themselves. So, stop sharing that one. Let me pull up the video of Pam Bondi on Fox News a couple months ago, where she straight up says that it's on her desk. So, listen to this.
I saw your appearance at CPAC with Ben and with Ted Cruz, and one of the things that you alluded to, and this is something Donald Trump has talked about, the DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay, so she just said the list was on her desk. Files were on her desk. Why haven't we seen any of this? So, that's one video. Let's do another Pam Bondi video. This one is where she says there's thousands of hours of footage. Let's play this one.
No, the FBI, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later.
Boom. Thousands of hours of footage. Now, obviously, I'm not calling for this footage to be released that is showing victims. And it's probably not exactly PG, but there's obviously video footage. There's obviously children being trafficked. Ghislaine Maxwell is serving 20 years in prison for it. So we're told. Maybe Epstein's really alive somewhere. And Ghislaine is really free. And they're just laughing behind the scenes at us. Because they just openly contradict themselves in public and then expect us to just go along with it. And I'm sorry. I've voted for Trump every single time, but I'm not afraid to call my own side out, if you will, because I technically don't belong to a side. I just like a lot of the stuff Trump does, and he pisses off the right people. But now it looks like he's joined forces, or at least helping cover it up. So, was Elon's tweet about Trump being on the Epstein list true? Maybe. I said in a previous video, it wouldn't surprise me, but I'll wait until I see confirmed evidence, because I think they're all on it. Democrats, Republicans, you name it. World leaders, billionaires, Bill Gates. Bill Gates was real cozy with him. So they're all corrupt. They're all pedos. And then I've probably played this one before, but we'll play it again. So Bongino used to, on his podcast before he got the deputy director position, he used to say, and I don't know if he seriously came out and said he didn't kill himself, but he did this. A little air quotes, killed himself. So obviously that's what he was insinuating. And then this was him once he got appointed and cash. And it looks like somebody's pointing a gun to their head. The way he says it, the tone and the body language.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to get? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Okay. So, there you have it. This was why I made the video, and, I'm sorry. I try to stay positive. I made this channel to try to change the culture, talk big about the nuclear family, wholesome stuff, get married, have kids. I try to be as positive about the Trump administration as possible. The super crazy MAGAs are going to attack me probably for this because they're like in a cult, just like on the far left, they're in a cult. I hold my side more accountable is the problem. And nobody does that. Almost nobody does that. I don't expect much out of the Democrats and the left. They're degenerate losers, most of them. Normies who just watch CNN, MSNBC, have no clue. They live in an alternate reality. I expect more from my side, the side I voted for. I hold them to a higher standard. So yes, I have no problem criticizing them, and this has completely blackpilled me when it comes to the Epstein situation. Now, there's still good stuff going on. It's not like, ooh, I regret my vote for Trump. No, I don't. Way better than Kamala. But this is a major black pill moment for me. And this just makes me lose a little faith. And, there was a conspiracy going around that kind of makes sense now. They didn't let Trump win the 2020 election. A lot of sketchy stuff going on. A lot of people are saying they will never allow Trump to win again. But then it was like, ooh, wait. All these tech guys, all these billionaires are suddenly funding the Trump administration's campaign. What if he had to make a deal with the devil, with the deep state? Hey, you're going to do this, stay away from this stuff, Epstein stuff. You're going to, try to appease your base with transparency. And then after you view it, nope, sorry, it wasn't there. Sorry, guys. even though Zane is sentenced to 20 years for trafficking children. To apparently nobody, because they're not going to charge anyone else. So, let me know what you guys think. Are they lying to us? Have they been corrupted? Have they been gotten to? Am I just a whack job conspiracy theorist? But I'm sorry, the stuff I've showed today obviously proves they're liars. Or they're just stupid making false promises about stuff beforehand. And then there was a nothing burger. But I'm sorry, when they say no more charges and Ghislaine is in prison for trafficking children, to who? Make sure you like, follow, subscribe at Trad West Podcast on all platforms. Till next time, Trad West Podcast out.